Join Kids Hat family. Hi, Tofu. Should we go play?
Hi. Actually, my friends are waiting for me.
Hey guys.
Hi, Tia.
Anyone wants to hear a story?
Yes.
Okay. Peacock and the Crane. Once upon a time, there was a really beautiful peacock, and he knew that he was beautiful.
Look at my tail. Has anyone ever had such a beautiful tail? My feathers are so gorgeous.
All the animals disliked it when the peacock behaved like that. But he didn't care. One day, he came across a crane. Hello, crane. Hello. Have you seen my feathers and tail? Aren't they beautiful? Yes, it is. I agree. It's the best. Unlike your pale tail. So colorless and boring. I, on the other hand, look like a king. Yes, that may be so. But can your lovely feathers help you to fly? Like I can? High in the sky, amongst the clouds and the stars, high enough to see the beauty of the earth? I think not. You just stay here, close to the ground, like an ordinary cock. The peacock had nothing to say to the crane. He no longer felt as proud of his feathers as he used to, and he realized that there was more to life than just looking beautiful.
That's a great story, Tia. And I realize I must go apologize to someone.
I thought you might feel that way after hearing this story.
Well, please excuse me for a moment. Today I'm very happy. I met one of my friends who was acting all greedy and selfish in class. So I told him the story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin, and he soon understood the lesson.
Really, Tofu? I haven't heard this one. I would love to hear it from you. The Pied Piper of Hamelin.
Once upon a time, there was a town named Hamelin. The town was beautiful, bustling with energy and wealth. But no sooner the happiness of the town was ruined by a plague. Plague of rats. There were rats everywhere. So much so that the people of the town didn't even have a place to keep a step without tripping over the rats. There were rats of every size, shape, every age and color. Nothing worked as a remedy. Not even the cats were able to control the plague of rats. Giving up, the authorities decided to announce a reward of 10 bags of gold to anyone who could help to get rid of the rats. One day, a strange-looking man came to the town. He was dressed in their traditional dress, but all red in color, with a long, peculiar nose and big, wide eyes. He adorned his head with a feather in his hat. He went to the authorities and said, I have a solution for your problem. I assure you that not a single rat would live in this beautiful town. But I want 10 gold bags that you have promised as prize. The authorities were not very sure of his commitment, but still allowed him to give it a try, as they had no other option. Soon, the strange-looking man took out a Pied Piper from his pocket and started playing a very strange tune. Within no time, all the rats started coming out and following him. From every nook and corner of the town, so many rats came out that the whole street was filled with them. Very strangely, the rats started following the Pied Piper, who was playing the strangest tune ever heard. The Pied Piper took them to the town's river and entered into it. In no time, all the rats, mesmerized by his tune, fell into the river and drowned. There were rejoices in the town, celebrations all over. Soon, the Pied Piper went to the authorities to claim his prize money. But since their work was done and they thought that this plague would never return, they shunned him off and asked him to leave without giving him a single penny. What selfish people are these? I did them a favor, freed them from such a bad epidemic, and all they could care was to be greedy and ungrateful? Now look how I will teach these selfish people a lesson. The Pied Piper took out his pipe once again and started playing another strange tune. A tune that no one had ever heard before. In no time, all the children of the town, mesmerized by the music, started following the Pied Piper. The children were so lost in his tune that they didn't realize that they have come out to the outskirts of the town. The Pied Piper took them to a cave and let them in. He kept playing the tune till all the children were inside the cave. He then closed the cave with a huge stone. Only 2 kids were left in the entire town. A boy who was hard of hearing and a girl who had hurt her legs so badly that she couldn't keep up the pace with the rest of the kids. These 2 kids went back and told their parents about the Pied Piper and how he lured all the children into the cave. Soon, the authorities went begging to the Pied Piper and requested him to let their children out. This time, they promised to reward him with 20 gold bags. I don't trust you any longer. I want my prize money beforehand. Soon, he was handed over his prize money. And he left, never to be seen again. The children were freed from the cave, and the parents hugged them and cried. Watching this, the authorities said,
"We surely have learned a lesson. This man came out of nowhere and saved us from an epidemic. All that we did in return was to be selfish and ungrateful. He surely taught us a lesson of not to be greedy and selfish."
That night, the town rejoiced and celebrated like a festival. It's still said that in the town of Hamelin, if you ever go and listen carefully, you might hear the beautiful sound of the Pied Piper. Tofu, I'm so proud of you. You must be a little naughty, but you surely are a good boy. Ha 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 ha.
Good morning, Tofu.
Good morning, Tia.
Are you all right, Tofu?
Yes, but I'm worried about my friend Sam.
Who is that? And why are you so worried about him?
Sam is new to our school. He joined my class last week. I like him very much. But some other boys have been lying about him, saying that he is not a nice boy.
Oh, that's bad. And are you sad because he is your friend?
Yes, I want people to see how good Sam is. And I don't know how to make it happen.
If Sam is a good person, then I don't think you have anything to worry about, Tofu.
I don't understand. Why?
Let me explain it to you with the story I know. The Princess and the Pea. Once upon a time, a young prince wanted to get married. So he went around the world looking for the right princess to marry. Alas, he found none. Something or the other was always amiss in all the princesses he met to be a true princess to his people. One stormy night, after the prince came back home, he and his family were having their dinner. When there was a commotion outside the castle door. The queen went to see what was going on. "What is the matter, guard?"
There is a young girl at the door, Your Highness. She says she is a princess.
Intrigued, the queen went to see the princess. When she got there, she was surprised to see a young girl drenched from head to toe.
Who are you?
I am a princess. I was passing through when the storm and lightning spooked the horses and they dragged my carriage into slush and mud. My men are still with the carriage trying to repair it. I have walked many miles to reach here.
Nobody who looked at the young girl could believe that she could ever be a princess. She didn't look anything like a princess. With her hair disheveled and clothes and shoes full of mud, she looked like a poor peasant girl. "You are welcome to stay here, O princess. My maids will prepare a royal room and arrange for a hot bath and dry clothes for you. Do join us for supper once you feel better. Come on in."
Thank you very much, Your Highness.
By the time the queen returned to the dining table to join her family, the prince had been informed about the stranger at the door and the queen's decision.
Mother, do you really believe that she is a princess?
Her appearance betrays her, but her eyes shine with courage and there is humility and grace in her behavior, just like that of a princess. However, we must wait till tomorrow morning to know whether she is really a princess or not. Saying so, the queen retired from the dinner table and went up to the room that was being prepared for the princess.
Your Highness, the princess is in the bath. We are preparing the bed for her.
Very well. Fetch me 20 of the softest mattresses that the castle has to offer.
Yes, Your Highness.
Once the maids had left, the queen took out a pea from her pocket and placed it right in the middle of the princess's bed. When the maids returned with the mattresses, she ordered them to place them on the top of the pea. That night, the princess slept on her special bed. But she had a sleepless night. She kept tossing and turning all night long. In the morning, she joined the queen for breakfast. How are you, my dear?
I am well, thank you.
But you look so tired. Is something wrong? You must tell me.
Forgive me, Your Highness. I do not wish to sound like an ungrateful guest, but I haven't slept all night. My bed was really soft, but something kept poking me in the back, and I have bruises all over.
The queen smiled happily because she knew that the girl in front of her was a true princess. Only a real princess who has lived all her life in comfort can feel a small pea kept 20 mattresses below her, and only a kind princess would not mention her discomfort unless asked to do so. Son, she is the one you have been looking for. Soon the prince was married to the princess of his dreams, and they happily lived in the kingdom where all the people loved and respected them both a lot.
Wow, Tia! No matter where the princess would have gone, people would have always recognized her because of her behavior.
Exactly, Tofu. And the same thing applies to your friend Sam. If he is a good person, soon people will be able to see that in him. And if he's not, people will be able to see that also.
Yes, you are right, Tia. I don't think I have to worry about him anymore. I am sure everyone will see his truth soon. Hey, Tia, can I use the new colors you just bought? I need to draw and color a bird for my science assignment. Sure, Tofu. Here you go. Thanks, Tia. Hey, Tofu, I am very hungry. Can I have one of the chocolates you bought at the store? Actually, Tia, I bought them for myself. Can't you wait till dinner? Tofu, you're so selfish. You're like the selfish giant. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Let me tell you about him and then you can decide. The Selfish Giant. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful garden. It had big trees laden with fruits and many flowers of different colors and fragrances. The grass was so soft that it felt like a cozy bed. Different birds sang melodies in the garden the whole day long. The children of the village loved playing in the garden. They would come there as soon as school got over and would stay till evening. In the far end of the garden was a big castle. People often said that the giant who owned the garden used to live there. But it was empty now. Nobody knew what had happened to the giant, and they thought he would never return. Till one day, the earth shook and there were loud thumping sounds. With each thump, the children were lifted off the ground and back again. Oh no, it is the giant. It cannot be. Why has he returned after all these years? The giant saw all the children in his garden and yelled loudly.
What are these children doing here? This is my garden. Get out! Get out of here!
All the children got scared and ran away. The giant then built a large wall around the garden so that no one could ever enter it. The next day, the giant went to the garden, thinking that he will pluck some fruits and flowers. But the trees were so sad without the children that they shed all their leaves and fruits and lay bare. Even the flowers that had blossomed became so sad that they went back into the ground.
Oh, I feel so sad. I don't feel like dressing up with my leaves today.
Yes, without the children, even I don't want to come out. I wish the giant had never returned. Who will I sing for in this empty garden? I am leaving. As time went by, winters came and passed. When spring came, it was lush green everywhere. The roadsides were filled with colorful flowers and green trees.
Everyone wondered how the garden must look too. But with all the sadness present in the garden, spring did not come to it. The garden remained frozen. The only ones happy in the garden were snow and frost. With no spring to melt them, they became the masters of the garden.
I will cover every tree of this garden so that it looks white.
And so it went and covered every tree till all one could see was white.
I am going to invite the north wind to join us here.
The icy cold wind swept over the garden. It knocked the chimney pots off the castle and rattled its roof. Then the naughty wind had another idea.
My friends, let's invite hail over too and claim this garden as ours forever.
Soon hail came down on the garden. All four of them got together and caused havoc. Hail and wind attacked the castle roof every day and took off its slates one by one. One day, while the giant was lying in his bed, he heard beautiful music come in from his bedroom window. He thought perhaps the king's musicians were passing the garden. He looked out of his window and saw that a small bird was sitting on the window ledge and singing.
Has spring finally arrived?
He looked beyond into the garden. The icy wind had stopped blowing. The snow was melting and frost was vanishing. Hail couldn't be seen anywhere. Instead, he saw the most beautiful sight.
The children have broken into the garden.
Some children had found a hole in the wall and had entered the garden from there. They were on every tree and were happily sprawling on the grass. The trees were so happy that they covered themselves with green leaves. The flowers also came out, and the grass was smiling gleefully. Even the birds were chirping new happy tunes.
What I did was terrible. I was selfish. I should have never ever blocked the children out of the garden. I will go and correct my mistake now.
The giant went out and broke the wall down.
From now on, this garden is your playground forever. The children were so happy that they hugged the giant.
From then on, the giant played with the children every day. As time passed, the giant grew very old and tired. He wouldn't go out to play with the children. He would only watch them from his window. One day, he saw a little boy crying. So he went to see him.
What is the matter, little boy?
The boy's hands were bleeding. This made the giant very angry.
Who has hurt you? Tell me his name and I will punish him.
The little boy calmed the giant and said, "Calm down, my friend. These are wounds of love." Then the boy took the giant's hand and took him to the Garden of Paradise with him. After some time, the other children came to where the little boy had been. They found the giant lying on the grass and covered with white flowers. He had died with a loving smile on his face. I really was being the selfish giant, Tia. I am so sorry.
Yes, you were.
I will change that immediately. Here, please have some chocolates, Tia.
Thank you, Tofu. I am happy that you have changed, but it is dinner time already. I will now have the chocolates for dessert. Hey, there you are. Hey, Tofu, wait up. What's wrong with you? I have been waiting for you for so long, and here you are, just walking past me without even saying hi?
I'm sorry, Tia. I didn't mean to be rude to you. Sometimes I just can't understand my friends.
Okay, calm down and tell me what happened.
You know my friend Megan?
Yes, the shy one with the curly hair, right? The one who's always helping you out with class notes and assignments.
Yes.
Isn't she wonderful? I think you should also help her out sometimes.
Well, that's just what I did, Tia, and she is so upset with me now. She forgot her English assignment at home. So I did some of it for her and asked her to complete it and submit it. That's it. She got so offended. She hasn't said a word to me since then. And she won't answer me if I say something to her.
Oh, that's strange. But I don't think she is the only one who is uncomfortable with people try to help.
What do you mean?
Let me tell you the story of the shoemaker and the elves. Once upon a time, there lived an old shoemaker. He was an honest man, but with very limited money. He made really nice shoes, but could not earn enough for himself and his wife. One night, he was in his workshop when his wife came to him. What are you doing, dear?
I have this last piece of leather left. I am just cutting it out. We'll make a pair of shoes out of it tomorrow.
Is it the last piece? What will we do? There are no grains in the cupboard, no wood for the fire, and now no more leather.
Don't worry, my darling. Something will work out.
The old couple finished their housework, and before they went to sleep, the shoemaker put the leather on his workbench. The next morning, he got up early to make a pair of shoes out of the leather he had kept. To his surprise, instead of the leather, there lay a beautiful pair of shoes. He picked them up and observed them closely. They were made out of the same leather that he had put out the night before. He called his wife.
Dear, dear, come, see this.
What a lovely pair of shoes! They are just perfect.
Yes, look at the stitches. They are so tiny and spaced so perfectly. But I didn't make them.
You didn't? Then who did?
I don't know. Why would someone help us like this?
I can't even think of anyone who can make such good shoes. You make the best shoes I have ever seen, and these are better than yours too.
I agree. Anyway, let us not get carried away. Let us put them in the display window and hope that we can get some money for them.
Just a few minutes after the shoemaker had put the shoes on the display, a wealthy merchant stopped outside his door. He paid a good sum for the shoes and bought them. The shoemaker was very happy. He went and bought food for the house. With the remaining money, he bought 2 pieces of leather. When it was night, his wife called out to him. "What are you doing? It's time for us to sleep."
Yes, dear. I am just cutting out these leather pieces so I can stitch them into shoes tomorrow.
The next morning, when the shoemaker and his wife came down to the workshop, they were surprised to see 2 new pairs of shoes on the table where he had kept the leather pieces.
Would you look at that? These shoes are even more beautiful than the first pair. Let me put them up for sale and thank whoever is helping us out.
Soon after, the shoemaker had put up the 2 pairs of shoes for sale. Other wealthy men of the town came and bought them. They paid a hefty price for them. The shoemaker bought more food supplies and leather from the money he got. Again that night, he cut the leather and kept it to stitch it in the morning. The next morning, he saw that the leather had been made into shoes again. And as soon as he put them up for sale, they were bought in exchange of good money. This went on for many days. The shoemaker started doing well. His business prospered and his shop would always be full with customers. One night, as they were closing the shop, the shoemaker had an idea.
I cannot stop thinking about those who help us. Why don't we hide behind the cupboard tonight and see who it is?
Yes, that's a brilliant idea. Let's hide and check out. After some time, they saw two elves enter the workshop through the crack in the window. They headed to the workbench and started making shoes from the leather kept there. Although they were making these lovely shoes for the shoemaker, they had no shoes on. They wore torn shirts and very thin tights. They did their work carefully and left through the window again.
Oh dear goodness! Such kind elves they are! We must repay them.
Yes. When you go to the market tomorrow, get me some nice cloth. I will make clothes for our little helpers. The next day, the shoemaker got many fancy cloths and good leather, while his wife made beautiful clothes for the elves. He made soft shoes for them. When night fell, they placed the gifts for the elves on the table. They also laid out delicious food and treats for them. Then they hid behind the cupboard again and waited for the elves to return. When the elves came, they were overjoyed to see the gifts and the delicious food. They wore their new clothes ate stomachful and went on to make shoes for the shoemaker. Once they were done, they slipped out of the window.
I am so happy to see our little helpers happy.
Yes, and they looked so wonderful in their new clothes, didn't they?
Tonight let's keep some more dinner ready for them. What do you think?
Yes, dear. That night, the shoemaker and his wife again kept dinner for the elves. But tonight, they did not hide behind the cupboard. Instead, they went to sleep. The next morning, when they came to the workshop, the shoemaker and his wife were disappointed to see that the dinner plates remained untouched. Even the leather that the shoemaker had cut out and put on the table remained as it is.
I wonder what happened to them.
Maybe they will come tonight?
Yes, let's hope so.
The shoemaker and his wife again kept the food for the elves, but were disappointed in the morning as the elves did not show up in the night. They waited for the elves many nights, but they never returned. Do you think they overheard us?
Perhaps they did. Elves are very shy creatures. They usually like to be left alone.
What will happen to the shop now?
Oh, it will be fine. I will miss my little helpers, but I will manage.
The shoemaker went back to making the shoes himself. His shop continued to prosper, but he and his wife always remembered the elves and remained thankful to them for their help. So you see, Tofu, some people are willing to help but are too shy to take help from others.
Yes, Tia, I understand now.
Also, it doesn't mean that you have to be angry with them. You can be thankful to them in your heart.
Thank you, Tia. If you wouldn't have shared this with me, I think I would have lost a very good friend. Now, when Megan tells me she doesn't want my help, I will respect that more.
Good to know that. Now let's go home. I am very hungry.
Tofu? But why so? I'm just trying to get my ball out.
But see those red ants. You better be careful.
Thanks, Tia.
Sit. I'll tell you an interesting story. The Fox and the Sick Lion. Once upon a time, there lived a lion in the forest. As the lion was growing old, he was unable to hunt for his food. He thought that without food, he would die of starvation. So the lion thought of a plan. He decided to lie down in the cave and pretend that he is ill. And whosoever will come to meet him will become his prey. Being the king of the jungle, the lion announced he was sick and summoned the animals to come and hear his last will. The lion put his sinful plan to practice and it started working. Poor animals didn't know about his wicked plan and fell into his trap. Many of his well-wishers got killed. One day, a fox came to visit the sick lion. The fox was clever and discovered the trick. He stood on the outside of the cave at a respectful distance and asked,
"How are you, sir?"
I am not feeling well at all. But why don't you come inside to meet me?
"No, thank you, sir. I noticed that there are many prints of feet entering your cave, but I see no trace of any returning. Still, if I come inside, I would be a fool.
And the fox saved his life and informed other animals too. So Tofu, the moral of the story is, you should never trust a fake person. For your favorite rhymes, stories and more, join Kids Hut family. Subscribe here.